A while back I bought these Pro E4 brakes off of AliExpress. And today I'm here to tell you if these brakes will kill you. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm here to tell you how the install went, my initial reactions and thoughts on how they performed, and yeah, if I would recommend buying them. I will also have a long-term review coming up, so stay tuned till the end of the video. At the end of the video, I'm going to go over what I'm going to change on these brakes right away to make them perform more the way I want, and tell you if they're worth buying, if they're worth their price. So before we get too deep into this video, I just want to say welcome to the channel, Mountain Biking for the Heart. My name's Dave. Yeah, I got a lot of videos coming up. Please like and subscribe and come back and see me. Let's continue with the review. When I first received the brakes, I unpacked them to see how they're packaged and check out the build quality, the quality of the machining and quality of the anodization. The initial inspection of the brakes, the initial build quality inspection, if you will, I noticed the machining in the brakes is really, really good. I don't understand how they can have this high quality of machining and deliver it at the price that they're selling these for. The brake levers even have little dimples, little holes, and their countersunk to provide a little more grip for your finger. And they're actually pretty comfortable. Everything feels really solid, especially for the price. They feel more solid than any budget SRAM or Shimano brake you can buy. That's for sure. I was headed on a vacation, so I just took a quick few pics and yeah, set them on the shelf, off to vacation. Once getting back from vacation, I promptly got them installed on my hardtail. The installation process was a little hit and miss. There's no instructions at all with the installation process and bleeding of these brakes, so if you're comfortable installing these brakes and bleeding your own brakes, then don't buy them. For me, it wasn't too bad. There were a couple issues ahead. The first issue I had was the weird clamp that they come with. You got to take everything else off your bar to use this clamp, so you have to slide it on and then mount the brake caliper. On the left side, so the front brake, everything went pretty well. On the right side, I had to put a lot of torque into that screw to keep the lever from wobbling. The lever would wobble. It kind of goes like, has a C, and it fits on the lever like this, and there's little cutouts in the lever where it kind of like pulls the lever against the bar. Well, on the left side that was great. On the right side, I had to just keep clamping and clamping and clamping. You can't really measure how much clamping force is going onto the bar, so I wouldn't recommend installing these on carbon bars. The other issue is bleeding. There's no bleeding instructions. Luckily, I have bleeding kits for every brake, and they use mineral oil, and I have plenty of mineral oil also. So I just started first with the brake lever itself, with the cylinder, took out the screw, and checked all of my brake bleeding adapters, and luckily, the M6 brake bleeding little hose thingy adapter from Magura fits right in there. On the caliper side, I actually didn't have anything to fit. So I ended up taking one of my little plastic Shimano adapters that I got off AliExpress or somewhere, and I shaved it down to a little bit of a point, and I just screwed it in there until it made its own threads. Popped the Magura hose onto it with the little on-off thing on the syringe. Right away I noticed, even without bleeding, the lever feel was okay. They're pretty soft. I wanted them a little harder, so that's why I wanted to try a really good bleed and see if I could get them a little harder. The normal Magura style bleeding, pushing the fluid back and forth, got all of the air out, and the lever feel was a little better, but they were still pretty spongy. So I decided to try the formula style of adjusting the free throw or the bite point and add a little more fluid. Doesn't work. It just squirts the fluid back out at you. It only takes so much fluid. You can't overpressurize them like you can with the formula brakes. So there's no real bite point adjustment on them. There is a lever throw adjustment on the inside. It's toolless. I've read and watched some other reviews where people had issues with these, that they were too tight to turn with their fingers. Luckily, both of mine were okay. So once I got them installed and took them out on that first ride, it took a good 12 to 15 stops, somewhere around there, to get the brakes bed in. They took a little longer to bed in than most other brakes. Once I got them bed in, I went out to some of the local trails that I know really well and just wanted to check out how they felt. I'm going to have to say the initial feel was pretty spongy. The feel of these brakes is more geared towards modulation than power. There's a lot of free throw in the lever also before it gets to the bite point. And since there's no adjustment for this, you're just going to have to deal with it. I actually had to run my levers a little farther out than I would actually like, or is actually comfortable for my little tiny hands, before I could actually get enough pull on the brakes, enough pressure to get full brake power. That's a little concerning if you got small hands. Yeah, you're going to be stretched sometimes when you're running. The overall power of these brakes, it leaves something to be desired. They got enough power for, I'd say, XC and light trail riding. I would definitely not throw these on an enduro bike and expect them to stop you. This could, though, be remedied with brake pads, so we're going to test that. I haven't found any wandering at the bite point yet. They're actually pretty good on that, and I store my bikes standing upright with handlebars up, upright with handlebars down. I store my bikes in all kinds of weird positions, and I haven't had any problems with them losing their bleed or feeling strange, which is a really good thing. I can't say that about every brake I've used. I've had that problem with Shimano brakes and Makura brakes, where you store them upright and you take your bike down to go for a ride, and oh my god, there's no brakes. Got to pump them up. What the heck? I just bled these things 3 months ago. Luckily, I haven't had that problem with these budget brakes. So my initial thoughts after riding these brakes on build quality and value. Yeah, the build quality is great. The value is great. You get a good product for what you're paying. But you have to be prepared to install these brakes and bleed them with zero instructions. If you're not ready to do that, don't buy these brakes. If you're looking for all-out power in your brakes, then these also are not the brake for you. They're not the most powerful brake. Definitely not. I've ridden many two-pot brakes that are much more powerful than these. The really good point where these brakes actually stand out is the modulation. The modulation is awesome. You have a lot of lever throw and can adjust how much braking force you're putting down. But as I said, don't expect them to be the most powerful. So what are my plans with these brakes going forward? Well, they use the Hope, I guess, M4 brake pad standard. So I'm going to get some sintered pads to throw in there and see if that improves the brake power a little bit and makes them a little bitier. The other thing I'm going to look at is they say the SRAM Matchmaker works on these. So I'm going to pick up a SRAM Matchmaker for the right side from a shifter. Other than that, I've got nothing else to say. Currently not at home. Hope you don't mind the environment. I'm away. And come back and see me at the channel. And never stop shredding. Dave out.